G'day Roosters, let's give this AutoCAD 2021 a whirl. I did install it a few months ago, but I haven't really used it yet. Only yesterday did I do the migration from 2019 to 2021, and that went pretty smoothly. It looked like it worked well straight away. I did dabble with it a little bit yesterday, and there was some changes that long-time users may find frustrating, especially around the trim and the extend command. But we'll talk about that a bit later. What we're going to do today is a basic tutorial in AutoCAD 2021 on drawing this floor plan. We'll do the whole thing. So that's our goal today, this 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom floor plan on an A3 sheet. So let's give it a whirl. So first of all, I'll open my template that I've started already. The Art of Technical Drawing is my template today. Now it does give me that show proxy graphics because I have opened this drawing in another Civil 3D, I believe, and it has some that actually not there. So just show the proxy graphics and you won't actually see anything. So don't worry about that. So let's start. So a good place to start is at 0, 0. So find that first. Now what I do is did a line and I did 0, 0, and that tells me, okay, well let's draw about around here. Now a good place to start, like I said, is with a good template. This one is a purge template, so I've taken out a lot of things that are normally in there that I normally have, but as you can see, there's some sensible layers like appliances, doors, fixtures, furniture, wall hatches, joinery, sanitary, walls, etc. So let's just double click on Wall Eternal and make that the latest layer. Now let's start drawing. So if I looked back at my floor plan, which I have printed out, it has some dimensions here. So I'm going to start drawing off these dimensions, and I'll start with bedroom 1. So let's just basically just draw our rooms. So it says it's 3.6. So just click somewhere on the screen, point in that direction by having the F8 key on, gives ortho, and type in 3600. So just a sensibility check on that, props, and we've got 3600, so that's the width of my bedroom 1, so that's a good start. So let's just start building out this bedroom now. So it's 3.6 by 3.6 by 3.6. So some of these lines will form what we call construction lines too. Now we've got the wall that we need to build out from the side here. Now it's a 90mm stud, so just type in the offset command, press 90 for the distance, and then click the line you want to offset. Now that's the form of our stud work there. Now F for fillet, shift, hold down the shift, click the 2 lines, and you fillet that 2 corners. So I often just hold down shift because I'm not sure what fillet's set to, and that makes it 0. Now let's do an offset again, but this time it's 50 for the cavity, and then offset again 110, which is for the brickwork. So let's fillet to 0 those 2 lines, and then select those 3 lines there and change it up here on the ribbon. You've got the layers, so just swizz that over to wall external, and that's a yellow layer and that's a white layer, and that'll affect the printing later on. So there's the start of our floor plan there. So let's offset some of the internal walls now. We've got a 90 there. Now that kitchen continues, so we can just use the stretch command here, S, and a crossing window, which is right hand side to left hand side like that, and that grabs the endpoints of the lines, and then you can enter on that so you've got it all. And now it says, okay, you want to displace those endpoints, so just click somewhere, anywhere on the screen, and see what happens there. You can just pull and stretch those lines out. So that's starting to form our kitchen. Now the kitchen says it's 4200, so use the offset command, 4200. So you're starting to see a pattern here. We just use, in basic form, AutoCAD, you use a small set of commands over and over and over again. Now what I did there was just copy that line from there with the copy command, and now I'm going to fillet again those 2 points. So if you just master a handful of commands like offset, like I just did then, you can actually do a lot in AutoCAD. I've offsetted 50, offset 110, fillet. You can draw a lot of stuff just by that. Now here's a great power tip. MA is a great command, match property. Match prop, click on that, click on the object that you want the other object to look like, and then click the other two. See what's happened there? It's matched to that original one that you select. Okay, so now we've got our kitchen forming. Let's go now over to our bathroom. So it was 3.6, so we've got the 90mm stud for the wall continues there. I'll use the stretch command again to pull that out, and I will use the copy command like I did before over there, and this time fillet those two things there. Now I've got the robe, which I'll just offset, and that's 600. That line will represent my robe eventually. And now I'll do it now. Offset here the entry, so we've got 100, 1, 1, 1, 0, and then another 90, offset 90, and then I can fillet all of that up like that. Now let's use the trim command here, and now notice something here, how that did that, and I didn't really want to do that. Now this is something that's changed in AutoCAD 2021. Now I used it for a while yesterday, and what you can do is just go like this, trim, and select that line and trims it. Now on first glance, you think that's great, but my complaint about this is that that's only great for simple drafting. When you have more complex geometry and you want to trim between 2 points and there's other lines intersecting, it's a pain. So while it's great for beginners, I don't think it's good for advanced. So type in the trim command, and if you see there it says mode, M-O-D-E, so O is in a blue, so that's the short key for it. So just press O, and then there's two things here, quick or standard. So I'm going to change it back to standard because I can see its use, but I don't think that's great for a long time and power users of AutoCAD. In simple drafting, it's probably fantastic like this floor plan. So let's offset our line now for the bathroom. It's 2200. Notice when you offset a line too, it just offsets the, like that line there is wall eternal layer, and so is that one. That's exactly the same. So that's the beauty of offset, is that you can start just building off one object. So let's offset that 90 now. Let's trim these two lines here. Now with the trim there too, now I have to select my trimming edges before I can trim anything. So I'm going to copy those two lines there. Now the extend command, watch this. See how that is like that? Now that, and what that means was when I did extend there, I select the line I wanted to extend to, and then I entered on that, and then I select the two lines I wanted to do. Now that was the traditional way of doing it, but in the new version of AutoCAD 21, there is mode in that too, and you can change it to quick, which can make it work like this. If you just type extend or EX and you just select the ends and it goes to the nearest line. Now like I said, I think that's great for simple drafting, but I don't like it for complicated drafting, so I'm keeping to standard mode for trim and extend, so which means I select the entities that I want my trimming edges to be, I hit enter on that, and then I click the object that I want to remove. So now I've got that robe on the other side there. Now there's a real great trick you can do here, mirror, M-I-R or M-I. Let's just select those three objects there. See how you've got that little green triangle there? That means a midpoint, and you can just click on that and shoot it across here at F8 on ortho, and see how it's mirrored it down there. Whoop, let's do that again. So if you've got symmetrical objects, you can just draw half of it and then flip it over. So that's a great power tip there for drawing. So I'm going to draw the balance of the bedroom there now. Now here what I could do too is also mirror these walls over. Now I know that's where my bedroom has to be, so I've mirrored that over. Now I'm going to move those three objects from that endpoint and move those three objects from that endpoint, and then I'm going to go shift right click and perpendicular, so I want it to go directly onto that line, and that is bang on now. So I can delete that line, so I don't need that extra one. Now I can use that fillet command there again to just clean up that corner. So there's the house. It's starting to take form. Let's stretch those lines out now so they go out further. So you can start to see we've got the shape of the house forming quite quickly. So let's offset 3600 and then offset 90 again for that one. And as you can see with the fillet there and the trim here, we've formed up that side of the house quite nicely. So let's get the living room going. Now we've got the 6,200 for the width of that, and what I'm going to do there is copy that line work from that endpoint to that endpoint. Whoop, see how that didn't work? You do have to be careful with that. You got to get your snaps in the right place. So let's do that again. Copy endpoint to endpoint. Now there's a double up there, so just erase one of those, but that's good now. Let's fillet that to clean it up. I'm showing you the basic way of AutoCAD here, but if you learn the basics, you can pretty well much do anything in AutoCAD. You're only limited by your imagination. Now just offset that line by 5890 because that's dimension shown on the plan. I'm going to copy this line work now onto here, and then I'm going to erase that, and I'm just going to fillet all this up, clean it all up, keep it basic. Just do the fillet, and do the fillet. Now what you could do here is do an extend, so you're just up a bit closer, and then fillet and fillet and fillet and fillet. See how quick AutoCAD is if you just run off the command line? It's a great way to learn AutoCAD the first way. Now the next thing, basically what we have there now is that shape of that bedroom. We've got the bed, bath, bed, and living and kitchen. That's all in there. Now the next step is to propagate this with what we call blocks. So these are pre-drawn things. Now there's a lot of cool CAD blocks websites out there. Now I'm used this one a lot, blocks.draftsperson.net. There's a bunch of stuff on there. Like for example this one, domestic floor block plans. Now I've used a lot of those things in there, and if you go down further here, you've got a search button, and if I say kitchen sinks in there, you can see that there's a nice ad. Build workflows around Revit. Actually an interesting ad. Kitchen sinks plans, and we can download that CAD file there. Now I've downloaded a bunch before already, and I have basically all of these come from blocks.draftsperson.net. All of these. I have modified a few specifically for this job, so I'm going to use these blocks now in this drawing. So let's just start with the door. Now you can use the insert command. I don't like how they've done the new insert command, but you can to me it's a bit clicky. Like you can eventually, it's not smooth, but I'll just show you another way. If you haven't got the block already in the drawing, you can just drag and drop the file like this, and you get it in like a block, and it asks you a few questions on scale and rotation. I'll hit 0 and all of that. Now that object there, I need to put it on a layer that's doors, so that makes it easy. Now you can see how that is red there. Now there's a reason for that. If I go ref edit on this and select that block, so edit the reference, REFEDIT, see how that is color red there, and that's color red on that object, but this object is bilayer, well, and this object is color 9. Well, if you change all of that to layer 0, which is a special layer, and change all of that to bi block, that means it'll take on the layer properties that it's on or what you've override it to. So I'm just going to finish that, save changes, and that'll update it. And now what you'll see is everything's white because that layer is white. And if I change that actual color of that object, it will change it to red. So that's just a pro tip on blocks. Try to always keep them on layer 0 and bi block. So just change that to bi layer for the layer. Now here's our door. Let's put it on the entrance. So I have to mirror it because it's swinging the wrong way. So just mirrored. So mirror is a great command. What you can do is you select your objects and then you select a mirror line. So if I just click 2 points straight down like that, you get that. If I select both of those and then did it that way, you can get that flip up. So mirror is a great little tool for drawing. So let's move that down to there and then move it across 200. Now I want that door in the middle, so I'm going to draw a temporary construction line straight down, trim it off, and then grab that line that gets the door, move it from the midpoint of that to the midpoint of that line that I just temporary construction line, and that's my door created. Now I'll probably keep that in there. I'll just match that because I'm not sure what layer that is. I'll keep that line in, copy that over there, and then I'm going to do this trim. This is why I like the trim to control the actual lines I'm doing, because if I use the 2021 way, I've got multiple things there, and it wouldn't trim exactly what I want. And the same thing here, it would trim to that curve and it trim to that door. So that's why I don't like the new trim, because I think it's only for basic drafting. Now I've got an exit door here. Now do I have any of these mirror ones swinging the right way? No, I don't. It's none of these, it's this one. So let's copy that. Actually, let's copy all of that line work up too. No, that's not going to work. So let's just copy that there up to here. Copy that up there. Now I've got a cupboard in there. They're normally 600. Actually, that's going to be not. So offset 950. There is an actual dimension on the PDF here. So offset from the outside 950. That's the start of my door swing. Now copy that line that I just offsetted, and I'm going to trim all that up now too. There's my trimming line. So that, trim that, trim that, trim that, trim that. Basically, I'm just showing you the same command over and over and over again, but in slightly different ways, and it shows you how you can draw stuff in AutoCAD. And this can scale up to even more complicated stuff if you like. So there's our door. Let's move that to the midpoint. Now here's one great tip. Now that my displacement, my second point, shift right click, mid between 2 points, the outside wall, the inside wall, placed it in the middle. That's a great way of finding the midpoint without drawing a construction line. Now here's the power of blocks. I'm going to put the kitchen in here, and I've already done one called kitchen plan. Let's drop that in and see what happens there. Kaboom! The whole kitchen comes in. I had the origin point there. Now I'll just put it on a layer. Not furniture, fixtures. It's a kitchen fixture. But there's the entire kitchen drawn. That's incredible. I've got a laundry here too. I've probably got that as 600 wide. Yep. And offset that 1200. No, that's not right. Let's make it an 1800 kitchen. I don't have a dimension on there, so I hope that's right. So trim that up and match that to that, and that puts it on fixtures layer. So there's our kitchen and laundry done. Now I've got the living room here. No, what am I? Let's go back to living room. So lounge, rug, and armchair. This block comes directly from blocks.draftsperson.net. Just plop that in. Bum, done. Put that one on the furniture layer. So that's the living room done. Let's move on to the bedroom. And I haven't got the door in there, so let's copy those doors up. Copy the door up. It has to swing. Okay, so let's mirror that door around that axis, and I'll copy that one up to here. Move that over 100. Normally it's 90 jam, but 100 will be okay. And let's trim it to that. There's the door to that. Now I'm going to mirror this one. Mirror from that one. Click, right click, midpoint of the bathroom down to there, and that's right for that one too now. So that's great. And now the last one is the door to the bathroom. So I'm going to rotate, RO command, click there, just go up the page so it's 90, and that's the right way. Then I'm going to go mirror, MI, that's my mirror axis, right click on that, enter. And yeah, sorry, I've set my right click to repeat last command, and it's not always like that out of the box, but if you want to be a super fast CAD drafter, make your right click mouse in options. I'll see if it's actually still there. Systems. Well, they've changed this quite a bit. Oh yeah, here it is here. So right click customization, you can change some stuff in here about how that works. So let's move that up 100 and then trim between that objects. It is cool how trim can work with the objects that are within a block too, not just things that aren't just lines, etc. Now we have, what's our next thing? We got our queen bed. I'm going to drop that in. Now I love how Revit has a spacebar and it rotates families around. I wish that was built into Revit AutoCAD too, if you hit the spacebar that rotate it. But let's just place that block in there, hit enter on all the XYZ because it's right already. Now RO command rotate, click the bed, click that endpoint and just shoot it up the page, or type in 90 and you can see what happens, 90 degrees. So now let's move our bed over to our wall, and once again I'm going to go shift midpoint between 2 points, and it's in the middle of that. Now that one over there is furniture, and that's furniture, so use the match property MA, and then you've done it. So that mirror up that one up there and you've got the bedroom. Okay, let's go for the bathroom. I think that's coming down. We've got the shower, dropping that in. Now that's going to be a fixture, or could always be sanitary, but I'll oh, it doesn't matter, whatever layer you want to choose. So that's that one. Now notice in here in the floor plan it's a little bit longer. It's probably 1200 shower, and the shower's over on that side. So let's rotate our shower, move the shower over to there. Now this one's pretty cool because this is what you call a dynamic block. It's got some functionality built in that you can change stuff, like the width and things. So let's just say it was a 1200 shower, so let's offset that line 1200. Whoa, that was a good guess. I was almost spot on. But I can stretch it to that point, and now I've got a 1200 shower, so that's that done. Next bit is the border. Well, let's go for the vanity unit. So that's in, and then let's go for the WC, or water closet, which is the toilet. So rotate that 90, move it from there to that point. Now I normally do toilets 450 mils off the wall. That seems to always work, so let's match all that up. Now you can see there that this doesn't look like that block is by layer. Yeah, see how it's on a layer called sanitary? I like all my blocks to be layer 0 by block. It's just a lot easier to control. Now I've got this really cool program that I downloaded ages ago called FixBlock. You can get this online if you just type in fixblock.lisp. I'm sure it comes up. But load that. It does a lot of that hard stuff for you. So just FixBlock. I click on that block, click on that one, click on that one. And that's got a nested block in it, so that one's not going to work. Blocks within blocks doesn't work. So you'd have to manually get in there. Let's see if I can type it in. Oh, yeah, okay. So I can run that command in the block editor. And now that one's right. So that would be the same with that one, no doubt. Yeah, let's run FixBlock in here. So just that little program just does manually what you would have to. It does quickly what you would have to do manually in fixing a block like that. Okay, that's perfect now. So there's the bathroom done. So quite quickly, in not too much time at all, 23 minutes, we've done the complete floor plan there. So there's, have we missed anything? I don't think we have. So it shows you the power of blocks. So the next step now is to put some text on it and get the dimensions on there. So, and oh sorry, we've got to do the windows. We haven't done the windows. So let's start with the windows. Now I've got this great block here called window plan brick veneer, and this is a dynamic block too. Alright, I have to run the fix block on that one too. I was mucking around with this yesterday, that's why it's changed like this. And let's put that on the, what layer? Windows, that's a good layer. Now the bedroom 2, it says it's an 1810. Now see how this is a dynamic block? Now I got this block. This block actually comes from draftsperson.net or blocks.draftsperson.net. It was actually in this domestic floor plan blocks. And it was actually this one in here, that one in there, and that was a dynamic block. So you can just click on it and it gives you a few presets. So the 810. Now I need to mirror that because it's around the wrong way, but I won't bother mirroring it first because I'm just going to move it from that point up to this point because they're symmetrical about, and then I'm going to mirror that to that. So there's windows both sides. So, woo, I hit the wrong line there. So let's do that again. Mirror it, mirror it, mirror it. Got that wrong. Got the wrong axis. Axis powers. Okay, let's trim this baby up now to that line work. This is why I like the old school trim. You can do that stuff with the other trim. It would be picking up the new trim. It'd be picking up all those other objects there. So that's good enough. So there's those bedrooms. Let's put one in the bathroom. So copy that out, rotate it 90 degrees, move it down to the bathroom. And it's way too big. It says it's a 610. Okay, it'd be great. So there, that's that one done. Trim that baby up. Did I get all that right? Yep, that's right. Yep, got that one. Now I've got a couple of 810s over here as well. It says there that there's 850 from the corner to the first window. Yep, and that one is 8. That one's 1810. Okay, 1810. That's great. And then that's 1810 plus 450. So if type in 1810, be lazy here. So that's next to each other, and then move it. Move command. Click on that. Click the displacement. Type 450. It'll move over to where I want it. So let's get my trimming lines there. Trim that up. Trim that up, and there's the line for that. Looking good. So let's moving one over here to the living room. Now that's a dirty big window here. Unfortunately, there's no dimension on it, so use some guesswork. I know it's from, would it be that one? 1, 2, 3, 4 bays. 1, 2, 3. It could be that one. This is where you can just use your design skills. Oh, I reckon it's bigger. Fraction bigger, maybe the next one up. Let's just try the next one. Didn't look like that changed much, that one. You know what, that'll do. We've got a great big window, a dirty big window in the lounge room. Let's hope that that's facing north, so you get nice sun coming in the morning there, especially if you're in the southern hemisphere in winter. Now I've got 2 other windows up here, 2 smaller ones. Let's grab that one because it's orientated the right way already. Now I reckon that's a 2. Once again, they're not dimensioned. I reckon they're 1210s. Let's just put those in there. 1210's probably going to be alright. Let's just put that other one in there too. It's a bit of a feature window. So I'm rotating that window around 90 degrees. And then I'm just putting it anywhere there. Let's move it from that point to that point, and then I can just actually do some displacement that's more logical. So that distance from there to there is 3, 8. It's an odd number. So let's just round that up. So let's make most of these windows the same because that corner is going to be a bit of a feature. Let's make it 450 and then move that one back to there and move that over to 450. So that makes that corner symmetrical, which may be more pleasing architecturally to the eye if this thing was ever built. And I'm trimming that up. So now I really do have it all done. The only thing I haven't done is the hatch, and we can see here there's been a bit of hatch has gone astray in that window. But let's put the hatch in. Hatch is a great little tool. AutoCAD's pretty good at hatch. I must say I've used other CAD software, 2D CAD software, and hatch works better in there. I think Autodesk could improve hatch still. So this one, AN, so I just typed in BH for hatch. ANSI32 is probably the closest to brick hatch. So I've actually selected that one, but you're not seeing a hatch. And I'll just click. So I've got pick points. It's picking internal points, and because those external walls trim up to those windows, you have a sort of a place you can fill in the hatch, and that does the hatch. Now all of that hatch is done around now. There's a few things we need to change, and the scale's too dense, so we can go to here and there's a thing called scale, change that to 20. That looks more likely. And the layer isn't the layer I want. It's on wall internal. Let's put it on hatch walls, which was color 8. And now the hatching is all done. So what we've done now in 30 minutes is draw an entire floor plan. Now we're going to do the dimensions. So I'm going to do this loosely, but I'll just do some dimensions roundabout. So first of all, let's check what our dimension is. I just typed in DDIM, Dimension Style Manager. I have one set up already called Dim 100 Arc. If I modify that, I've got my standard text type style. I've got the text height as 2, so that's at 1:1, and how we change the scale is here, overall scale of 100. So that's why it's called Dim 100 Arc. So I draw in AutoCAD 1:1 and then I annotate at the scale I want to do. So this is a 1:100 plan. Primary units are all set up already, so a lot of that stuff's set up. So a good template helps you set up stuff. Now a good metrics dimensioning style guide is have some space off your object so you can clearly see your object. So a good drawing is you see the object quickly and then you go deeper for more information, in this case the dimensions. So I'm going to give you a new command here called XL, X line, it's a construction line, and type in V for vertical and just click on the outside like that. Now see what that is? Now that's a construction line. It has no 2 endpoints, it's infinite. These are great for construction lines. Now the first dimension I want is 15 times my drawing scale off the object that I'm dimensioning to. So 15 times 100 is 150. Sorry, 1,500. I forgot the extra 0. And then the next line will be 12 times the scale. So 12 times 100 is 1200. And I'm going to have 2 out there. So I can erase that construction line. Let's just set up a few things now. So let's get our dimension dim layer I'll use. Now this is, I don't use the ribbon a lot, but when you've got more complicated things, I do use the ribbon, like the layering and that. But I still use this one for the dimensioning, linear. You could type dim linear or probably, I don't know, is it DL? No, you could probably change, you can add command aliases in here if you want some other short keys and look up ones what they are, but I can't remember what the leader one is. So what I'm going to do here is dimension my walls. So click on linear, click on the places that I want to dimension to, and it does it like that. Now see how it's pointing out that direction because I clicked that in there. If you do it the other way, that inside one and outside one first, it goes the opposite direction. Now you can adjust that later on and pull it over, but that's how you do it. Now I don't really need that construction line now because I've got that first dimension. And now there's another great tool that I use called DCO, which is dimension continue. So if you've got a dimension where you want it and you want to continue the string, just type in DCO and see how it continues on. You just got to make sure it's not continuing on from that side. It is that side, but it is right in this case. Now I'm going to dimension my walls. So I grab the walls, 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 and that's done. So you could mess around with this a bit here. This dimension style, you do have that ability. You could drag things in like that and make it look like that. Now you might have wondered what I did then. So in this dimension style, I have masking on the text. So if you do get a situation with a line going through the text, if you select the dimension and type in draw order and then say front, it brings it to the front so the text is over the top. Now alternatively you could have left it like that and it would have been read okay too. So you can grab these grips and stretch it around to make it more look like how you want it to look, or you can just leave it as it is. I'll just leave the rest as it is now for the next bit of the dimensioning. So dimensioning, again, what you could do is just see, now that's what you've got to watch. See how it's done that? I thought it was right before, but it was actually grabbing it from the wrong continuation. So I always just do a double check when I do a DCO from the first point that I've started. So let's copy that from that point there, perpendicular, shift right click to that point there. That's my next line. Now I'm going to grab my dimension, grab the grips here and stretch that out and grab it from that point, so it's from the end point. This is actually a string to set out the windows. So then DCO again. Now this case, you know it's definitely going right. And then we've got the overall dimension, which is copy that one from that end point, perpendicular to that one. Erase the construction line and then put all those dimensions out like that. So that's pretty great, isn't it? So now you can just repeat that dimensioning around the other side with that pattern. Now let's put some text in there. We've got to label some things here, what they are. So if you type in MT, let's first of all check out our style command. Style. What is that crazy one? Don't know how that one got in there. But this is the one we're using standard. I like Swiss 721C and BT. Set that as current. Height, just leave it at 0 there. We can control that on the actual drawing. Remember what I said? We draw 1:1 and then the annotation scaled to our scale. So I want to use 3mm high text at 1:100. So if I type in text, mtext, multi-line text, that seems to be the one. Actually, I'll show you text originally, the first one, text, which is single line text. Now it says specify height, so 3mm text times 100, so 300. Angle 0, and text, let's just type bed 1. What's going on there? Oh yeah, that's it. So that's great. Let's put it on a text layer. Do I have a text layer? Text floor plan, that'll do. And that's great. Now that looks pretty good. I mean, that looks almost identical to that. But what we want to do is the insert here. It's in this corner. If I change that to instead of left, if I change it to center, middle center, see how it's in the middle of the text now? Now what you can do is grab that grip, shift right click, mid between 2 points, go that side of the bedroom, that side of the bedroom. Now that text is exactly in the middle of that object there. Now let's say that's of that room. So let's copy that down there and change this text to bedroom 2. So just double click on it and you can enter it, and then you just highlight over the 1 and put it as 2. Now what I'm going to show you now is this is text, this is single line text. If you wanted to have 2 lines there, you wouldn't do it. So text isn't super popular anymore. You do use it, but multi-line text is more common, which you can use with the M. You can create it with MT text like that, and then you can create it. But often what you do is you have one piece of M text that you've set up how you want to do it, and then you copy it. So if you've got a piece of text and you want to convert it to M text, in Express Tools there's Convert to M text. Click on that and it converts it. Now a couple of things I always do with M text straight away is the defined width, I change it to 0. I want to control that manually. I hit hard returns to make my line return. So for example, if I click on that and then hit return, I can put more text in there. Now that's how I do it. Now that once I put a piece of text in the first time, I just copy it around everywhere. So I only have to set it up once and it's done. So let's just copy this around. Woo. Just undo what I did there. I'm not sure what happened. Went rogue for a second. Double clicking on the text there just to edit the text, and copying it around and giving it a name. So that's the labeling done, and I'm going to copy this one and change that to laundry and rotate that around. So this is a sort of a European style laundry, as we call it locally here. So it's a laundry within a cupboard. Technology's be able to do that. Now that text is way too big for that, so let's change that to a standard annotation height text. which was 2 mil high if you saw in the dimension style. So 2 times 100 is 200, so change that to 200. So that's more sensible text height. Consistent text height is important for a good looking drawing. So if you've got all your labels, oh there's that bed too, found where that went. If you've got all your labels the same height, it's going to look great. Annotation, text can keep that consistent too. So notice what we've done now, we've drawn that entire bathroom, floor plan of this mini house. So let's throw up some other dimensions on this other side now. X line, 1500. Offset that, 1200. And we're going to quickly bash out some dimensions with the lineal command. First of all, we need that internal bathroom dimension. So we're going to get that wall going up first. So the width of the wall is 250, which includes the cavity. Now we have that and that, which is the bathroom. Now if you've got a dimension way up here and you're not sure if they can actually see it, they know what it is, double click in the dimension, hit right, go end, press the end key on the keyboard, it goes to the end, put in a backslash capital X and it'll hard return to the underline or underside of the dimension line. Then I can put in bath here. And it does it like that. So that's a nice way of just clarifying, hey, this is the bathroom dimension that we're trying to set out here. And then just click a couple of other lines there. So that one is good enough. And offset that 1200 again. And we're going to do some dimensions now of the other bedrooms, which are these ones. So the wall again repeats. So the string is, I know that repeats below, but often it's easy to read and up to something if it's complete and whole, and it does the entire string completed. So that's that dimension done. And let's just throw in, I can't be bothered dimensioning that window on that side, so let's just go, because it is in the middle of that bedroom, so you probably could work it out anyway. Overall dimension there, so that side's done. Put in our construction lines here again, 1500, offset 1200, which was the same as the other side. We're going to have 3 strings there as well. So with dimensioning, you normally start from the inside and work your way out. So in this string, I'm going to dimension internal walls, windows, then overall. So it's small, it's inside out. And I do know something on that living room block that I'll show you in a minute too when we finish this dimension string. So first of all, let's dimension our wall out. I'm doing shift right click perpendicular, so it gets that line work there. Now let's do DCO again, dimension continue, and we're doing that internal wall, dimension that one and that one. Always just check that it's got from the right point. Yes, that's good. Now I'm going to do the windows. So let's click on this one and this one and that one. You see, you don't see what I did there, you just did the midpoint. As long as it's on that line, it's going to get in the right place. DCO again. Click on that, click on that. This is probably going to be a funny dimension, that one. Oh no, it's even. Well, that was good. Just check that one's right. Yep. Yeah, that's a bit weird. You could stretch that in. Is that going to work? Yeah, just do that. That'll do. And then the overall dimension, which is from that point there to that point there. That point there to that point there. Perpendicular. So erase our construction lines there. So that's dimensioning. Now, I've noticed something in this block here. There seems to be something different. See how there's this line around here like that? I know what this is. It's not shown on the plan. That's actually a point. If I type in PD mode and probably set that to 0, it disappears. Type 64, it comes back. See? Now you could just ref edit, double click it, and go in and delete those points. There's a couple of them. Or you could just type in PD mode and set PD mode 64, which is the shape I normally like to use points, change it to 0, and then they won't show up at all. So you do occasionally get that in blocks, especially older style blocks. Like some blocks have been drawn years ago, but they're still good. So they might have some older stuff in them still. So just offsetting my construction lines for the final rush on the dimensions, the final flourish. So shift right perpendicular. Oh, I got a point. It's snap point there. Now I was just going to touch on the snap points there. OS mode, you can control it in there. Press F1 key on that to see what it does, but I always have my OS mode set to 1135, and what that gives me is my snaps at endpoint, midpoint, center, geometry center, node, and intersect and insert. They're the ones that seem to be my go-to snap points. Definitely never have nearest on. I only do that manually. You can do a shift right click and get it from there anyway, nearest, but that one can be a little bit dangerous. You can have some inaccurate drafting. So this dimension is going to be the internals. That's that done. Now let's do the windows. So once again, I'm just going to take it out to there. That's my start. DCO continues on. This should be 1810. It is. Windows. Oh, I might as well do the door while I'm there too. Grab that entire string. So dimension strings are always good if you stick to an element. So the first one is, that's also like the internal dimensions of the rooms. Then this one is the actual openings in the walls, doors and windows. And then the last one, obviously, is the overall dimension. So if you could keep up with that, basically what we've done there is drawn an entire floor plan. Now all we have to do is put it on a sheet. So this is model space, what I've been drawing in. Model space. So this is principally where you draw everything. But paper space is how you present things to paper or to PDFs. So you've got this layout tab here. Normally you'll see two. There, layout 1 and layout 2. You can just click on that. It goes over to a sheet setup. Now I have page setup. If you type in page setup, I've already got one set up in there, A3 PDF. But basically what I need to do here is bring in my title block. Now this title block comes from title block A3 borderless. It comes directly from blocks.draftsperson.net. If I go back to the search feature, which is here, so A3 borderless, there it is there. I got it from this one. It's got A3 and A1 borderless. Borderless is in vogue right now. Basically, the only border you get is around the actual title block. This bit's on def point, so you don't see it. Let's just put that on a layer you can see a bit better. I think I'll just put it on just 25 because it's white. Now, I would say it's always good to have this point on bottom left-hand corner at 0, 0 in the title block. I'm just going to try it. No, that doesn't work. So just draw a line from 0, 0. You can just draw lines. You can draw lines by clicking, but you can also draw lines by entering X, Y, Z coordinates. So I've just answered the X and the Y coordinate only. I'll just turn F8 on so you can see where that is. So that there, that corner at 0, 0, and then that's just shooting up the page. So let's move our title block from that point to that point. If I inserted this block through the insert command, I do have options of giving it the insert point coordinates. So let's just have a look at our thing here. Now this block is pretty cool because it's got a lot of attributes set up. So if I look at this, I've got AutoCAD 21 tutorial for beginners, the art of technical drawing, proposed floor plan, AO1, 1 to 100. If I double click this block, it doesn't go to ref edit, it gives you the attribute editor. So say for example there, this has got attributes in this block, so I can just like fill it out like a form. So I could say AutoCAD 2021 tutorial for beginners. So if you can find a good template, find a good block source, it saves you a lot of pain. Proposed floor plan, change this name to the art of technical drawing. Amendment A, drawing number A01, and the scale, it is actually going to be 1 to 100 at A3. What I love about this title block, it's got a few key things in it. One, you can put the scale here, it's 1 to 100, but that's only if you printed it out correctly in PDF or paper. So it says over here that this sheet was meant to be an A3, and this print reduction bar, if you printed it out, you can see if that's 50 mils long, then it's printed out right. So I've brought that block in at 1 to 1, So that's 1:1 at the paper. Now another thing, the paper size. So that's completely different. So the floor plan is a lot bigger than that. So let's just type in page setup here. Now if I A3 PDF, this, if I just set that as current, it will fix what we were seeing there before. See, it's got a full bleed A3 extents 1:1. I've got a CTB, color by layer style. You can control that by the layers to the style. So that's all okay. And you can see there I've got an error there, so I'll just double click on that and delete that. So that's our title block done. Now we got to get the view in there. Now this is how I do it. I do a REC rectangle. I click that point on that side and that side, which is the view area that I have for this sheet. I can fill up that entire space. So I move that object onto a layer called def points, which is a special layer in AutoCAD, which is non-printable, because remember this is a borderless title block. Now I Control C on that, copy it. Now go over to here and I Control V it and paste it. Now that's 1:1 at a paper sheet size. Remember how I said this was a 1:100 drawing? So I have to scale command, just type it in, scale that rectangle up by 100. And now that is how much space I have on that sheet to put drawings in it at 1:100. So let's just move that frame around my object to how I want to present it. So that's, if I draw within that box, and that's where it's going to show up on the sheet after I set it up. So now I'm back in my paper space view here. So I've gone model space, toggled back to paper space. You can also double click on those layout tabs and just change it too, if you want to change that name. So if I say that AO1-floor plan, that's good too, because when you do a print of that, a PDF, that tab can come out along with the file name. So in the file name of the PDF. So now what I need to do is use a command called mview. Mview makes a viewport. I'm going to click those two endpoints again because I deleted that object before. Now that looks pretty well much right, doesn't it? And in this case, because there's nothing else in there, it's easy. But if you had other stuff, it'd be complicated. But it's not quite right to scale. If you look at it, it's custom 0.009, so it's a bit off. So let's just double click in the paper space view, the viewport, and it goes into that viewport, and then you can see you can zoom around in there, but you're still in your paper space. So now what we do is we do a real cunning trick here. We go zoom, we just type in zoom, and we go window, W for window, and click, shift right click endpoint, that top corner, and then shift right click endpoint, that bottom corner, and it zooms in exactly right on that view, which is now on the right scale. So if I just type in PS to exit paper space, now I'm back in model space. Sorry, I was in model space, I've toggled back to paper space. I can click on this viewport and we can see that the scale now is actually right, the 1:100. Now what I like to do here too is to go display locked yes, so you don't bump it accidentally later on, and then move that layer that the viewport is on to def points, so we continue with that borderless view. Now practically we have completed our floor plan here, so the only thing we've got left to do is to plot it so we can email it to someone. So type in the plot command. I've already got this one set up as A3 PDF, and we can plot that to our output folder. So there's the one I was looking at before. So now you can see the Art of Technical Drawing -AO1 floor plan, which is that tab and the file name. So let's save it and see what it looks like. Great, that's the one we just drew, and that's the one I drew it off. So it's very, very similar. Thanks for watching this basic tutorial on how to draw a floor plan in AutoCAD 2021. I'll put all this stuff up, the PDF and the CAD files that I've just drawn, on the website, which will be in the links below. And you can enjoy learning how to use AutoCAD.